Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Of course, Parish Construction and Roofing. Visit parishbuilt.com. We love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. And the Parish Maintenance Program has been introduced for $25 a month. Learn more at parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. Semaglutide, tirzepatide, once a week injections for weight loss. Learn more at uniquephysique.com. Telemed options available. And of course, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Check out Crystal Poche. If you're in pain, Crystal will take you out of that pain. Restoredmotions.com. Okay, we'll say some good mornings here, y'all. You probably noticed on Sunday the news around LSU football. Toviano arrested, no bueno. A rising sophomore defensive back. Toviano was he was the number 5 safety in the country in the composite. He was a 4-star. Rivals rated him as a 5-star, but came to LSU a year ago, and because of LSU's desperate need at corner, Toviano played corner as a freshman, and it didn't go super great because, well, he's not a great corner. But nonetheless, still a guy that played a lot, played in all 13 games, started 3. So I think he started 3 of the last 4 games. I think his first start came against Alabama. So was a guy that by the end of the season had really emerged as you were trying to find options. And, was a guy that no doubt they were going to count on this year in a secondary that's got a lot of bodies, maybe short on experience and short on skins on the wall, say it that way. So I recognize it's Morning Scone. And so on Morning Scone here, this is a much more sort of appropriate audience because we have kids in the car or going to school. Well, I guess nobody's going to school right now, but you understand the point. He was arrested on video voyeurism charges. He videoed an encounter without a young lady's consent, and was arrested for it. So, per university policy, he's suspended indefinitely. And LSU said as much in a statement and had nothing further to say. So we'll wait and see how this plays out. Toviano, like everybody else, is afforded due process. He'll have his day in court, and we'll see how this all plays out. For the secondary, not great, no matter what. You are getting Zy Alexander back, which is good news. Ashton Stamps started 4 games for you a year ago, battled through injury, but played injured a year ago, but hopefully, really develops in year 2. J.K. Johnson missed all of last year. Jair Brown's coming in from Ohio State after starting just 1 game in 2 years there in Columbus. Is Sage Ryan going to play corner? Is he going to play safety? P.J. Woodland's a freshman. I guess all that to say, you don't have a lot of great options there in the secondary. So when you lose any option, especially a guy that played in every game for you a year ago, that's not a great thing. So David Toviano arrested. We also learned, and thanks, I know I think we might have shared this a bit yesterday, but Trey Holly, his legal situation got delayed until September the 18th. So I think at this point, you'd have to think there's a better than good chance that Trey Holly is not available at the start of the season, which, man, would have changed just 1 week ago is when I talked to Brian Kelly and he gave the update on Trey Holly, and they were very optimistic that it would be adjudicated this week. And then ultimately, not great news. So that hearing is postponed until September the 18th. Okay, let's say some good mornings. You know the drill. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post, all that stuff. And of course, on the scroll at the bottom, you got all the info for our sponsors from Brock, of course, Parish, Restored Motions, and Unique Physique. So would really appreciate it if you'd patronize all of our sponsors. So, all right, let's go. Trivia Carter, good morning. Tim Gotro, good morning. Razor, good morning. Let's have a good week. No voyeurism. I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. Like if that was I mean, you could do the whole litmus test, like if that was your daughter, your sister, your, whatever. How would you feel? And I'm with you. It's more of a smirk just of how stupid that is. I mean, what are you actually doing? Like, what are you thinking is gonna happen there? Like, what do you think's a good outcome? Anyway, Kelly Gross, good morning. James McKinney, good morning. Toki Doki, good morning. Jeff, what up, my dude? Hope you're doing great, man. Brian Wynn, what's going on? Eli, woodoo, and it's strange. Leon Williams, good morning. Hey, David Tolson, what's going on? Abner, Matt, you're so balanced in your approach to NIL and athletes choosing schools as a true professional. Well, thank you, Abner. I appreciate that. I think I just I just I try to put myself in the mindset of an 18-year-old. Like, can you imagine when you were choosing where to go to school, if adults went online and were just saying mean things about you because of where you chose to go to school? It sounds stupid when you and I are talking about it, right? Like, I mean, my freshman year, I went to Holy Cross in South Bend, Indiana. Like, what if there were message boards that people were like mad at me for going away for college? My brother went to Notre Dame. Like, are we like bad Louisianians because we went away to school for like, what? It's so stupid. Like, I get it. You want to win and people are passionate about their schools, but man, like, let a young person do what they think is best for themselves. Like, there's plenty of good players. You're going to get good players. Anyway, okay. What up, Trey Fisher? Good morning, man. Hope you're doing great. Tiger Diver, morning, Scone. You should check on T-Bob. He's OTB talking about Carr being a top 12 quarterback. Oh, God. That's a fireable offense. Michael Thacker, morning, Scone. Can you explain the stipulations with NIL from the collective? Are they just writing a check to a player, or is there some sort of commitment from the player? Yeah, good question. So every NIL deal has to have deliverables. Otherwise, it's pay for play, which we all know it is pay for play anyway. But the student athlete has a set of deliverables. It could be allowing their name, image, and likeness to be used for promotional items, photo shoots. It could be meet and greets with boosters. Could be appearances. Like, if you remember the very first year that Brian Kelly was here, so in 2022, the entire football team got the same amount of money from the collective. And if you remember this, they did an appearance at the food bank, at the Great Baton Rouge Food Bank. That food bank appearance was their deliverable for the collective. So there you go. I mean, that's it. So is that worth $100,000 or whatever it is? I don't know. But like, if you look at Bayou Traditions, I mean, you can go look at on the website. There's this scrolling graphic with all these LSU athletes with their like, there's Jaden Daniels, like in their LSU uniform, right? Alexis Morris. They're not at LSU anymore. But anyway, the point being, Dylan Cruz. The point being, LSU typically would not allow those photos to be used by an independent organization, but that's their deliverable. I'm sure part of some of them is probably their deliverable for their collective deal. Ricky Lambert, morning, Matt. It's my birthday. Apparently, a lot of good people were born in July. Happy birthday, Ricky. Hope it's a great one for you. Yeah, man. As we've gone through, July is a very, very, very expensive month in the Moscona household. It's interesting because it's like, it's our down season, like when you're not in season with sports being played. So suffice to say that July would be the least lucrative month of the year. yet it's the most expensive month outside of like Christmas. So, so I mean, it's my birthday, it's Erica's birthday, it's Drew's birthday. My nephew Eli, let's see, Eli's the 4th. I'm the 8th. My niece Maria is the 13th. Drew's the 18th. My sister's the 19th. Erica's the 29th. No, I'm sorry. Olivia, my niece Olivia is the 29th, and Erica's the 30th. That's 7 just off the top of my head, right? It's an expensive month. But happy birthday, Ricky. Hope it's a great one. Hey, Bubba, good morning, man. Matt, good morning. Any updates on baseball, or at this point, is it slow with the draft being over? We know most that were picked will sign. Yeah, man. So remember, everybody taking the top 10 rounds is signing. Like, and then the guys we were kind of wondering about, Braswell didn't get picked. He's coming back. Blaze Priester didn't get picked. He's coming back. Bear Jones didn't get picked. He's coming back. So, like, a lot of that we know the answer to. There's really nobody we're sweating here until the deadline. Now, the real question is, what other players might Jay add, and could there be more attrition? Like Luke Hayden is one we talked about, right? So with William Schmidt signing, or foregoing the draft and coming to LSU, we assumed that one of those right-handed pitchers from the portal was going to leave. Well, ultimately, Luke Hayden was drafted. He's going to sign. I'm going to be very, like I've continued to say, I'm going to be curious about those first base DH guys with both, with Bear Jones coming back, Priester's there at catcher, of that group of 3 guys that you went and signed, Dalton Beck, Eddie Yaman, Luis Hernandez, does one of those guys maybe re-enter the portal? Maybe not, but it would stand to reason, like, if for those guys it's their final season, you gotta get ABs. Razor, PJ is gonna, I guess PJ Woodland is gonna shine. I'm optimistic about him. They like him a lot. Matt, let's see. I have a roofing question. Is your email on the parish website? Just email me at Matt at 1045espn.com, or text me on the show text line. Either way, happy to help, Matt. And the long story short is, I had an email with the old company, and I think when we went through that transition period, I went to a different email address, and I don't know if Matt at parishbuilt.com is probably live. I just don't know if it is, and I haven't checked it yet. So, like, it's not on my phone or anything. So just email Matt at 1045espn.com. Hey, Bailey, let's see. What do you think the reaction to 8-4 will be? I think that's the worst case scenario. Well, I think the worst case scenario is actually more like 7-5. The USC out in Vegas, Ole Miss, Alabama, at A&M, Florida, Oklahoma. I mean, that's 6 right there. And you could roll your eyes. They're not losing to Florida. They're not losing to Oklahoma. They're not losing to USC. Maybe. But again, we're talking worst case scenario. What would the reaction to 8-4 be? Not good. I think everyone's expecting LSU. I think we're at that point where people are wondering if Brian Kelly, if we're going to look 9-3, you beat Bama, you won the West. 9-3, offense was awesome. Jaden wins a Heisman, but your defense was atrocious. But you're still 9-3. Both 9-3 look very different both years. Like, can you break through that, or is that a glass ceiling? No, I don't think it's a glass ceiling. I think, and I look at the 25 recruiting classes and what's coming ahead in 26, and I'm really optimistic about the future. I just don't know that 2024 is the year that they break through. Maybe they do, but you've heard me say this before. I look and I think, like, Mettenberger, Burrow, Daniels, all 3 were transfers. All 3 started in their 4th year in college, which was their first year at LSU, played well, but came back, and in their 5th year is when they went boom. And I think that could be the same for Nuss. If Nuss comes back in 2025, I think that could be the boom. Okay. Ryan, what a dumb decision. Oh, you're talking about Toviano, yeah. Spurge, good morning. Jamie Leday, good morning. KDP, morning Scone. Hope you had a great weekend. Toviano's situation is depressing. Wishing the best for the kid, but my heart also goes out to the victim. Absolutely. Should. I mean, Toviano's the idiot here. Like, it's a very dumb thing to do. And, you know, a lot of us did dumb things at 19 years old. But you're 19. You should know better. Weston Weaver, morning, Matt. Do you foresee LSU getting the number 1 recruiting class at the rate they're going? I don't know, Weston. I'm not the guy that, like, I don't know how all that's computed and everything like that. You know, it's easy to look and say that they're in the mix for it because they got the number 3 composite class right now, and they've only got 18 commits, whereas like Bama and Ohio State are ahead of them, have like 23 and 22 commits respectively. So, yeah, man, as you keep building this class, and look, I mean, like Jamie French is a 5-star wide receiver, LSU. That's an LSU Texas battle. If you land Jamie French, you know, that gives you 4 or 5 stars in the class. You know, let's see how they finish. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely in the mix for it. What up, Nick? Good morning, man. Hope you're doing great, man. Hope you and the family are great. Tell everybody I said, oh, that's my friend. That's my cousin Nick, who's a Tiger living in Crimson Tide territory. And actually, he lives with a Crimson Tide fan. His wife, Allie, is a Bama fan. But she's actually from Alabama, so that's totally legit. It's not like the kids that are like, the 12-year-olds walking around Baton Rouge with Alabama shirts on just because Alabama wins. Anyway, hope you're doing great, cuz. Best of the fan, man. Hope to see y'all soon. Michael Cook, what's going on, man? Good morning. Matt, what was supposed to be the vision of NIL? Seems like it's more pay to play, not NIL, especially programs not pursuing the players if they transfer and haven't done their deliverables. Yeah, so, I mean, of course, the vision of NIL was name, image, and likeness, and it opened the door for boosters just to pay players, which, whatever. If there's a market for it, good on them. If only you and I were so lucky. It's about, y'all know how I feel about it. It's about time that the student athletes finally got some. I mean, everybody else been getting rich for years. So, and yeah, man, like what he's referring to is, like, let's say contractually a student athlete has 4 deliverables for their NIL deal and they do 3 of them, and then they announce they're transferring, they're hitting the portal, and they haven't done that fourth deliverable, but they've received their money already. Well, contractually, the collective could go after that student athlete for the funds. But nobody's going to do that. Like, you don't want to have the reputation of being the program that's going to sue your student athletes, sue your players for like, that would be recruiting suicide. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine? Why would you go there? If you decide to go in the portal, they're going to sue you to get your money back. So yeah. Go Rilla, what's going on, man? Robert Mason, Barry Jocelyn, good morning. Still here for correct grammar. There you go. There you go. Mark, what's going on? Let's see. What's the best way to view the Locked On podcast? You put up the free content, so I want to listen or view in the best way. So thank you, Mark. The answer is all of it. But truthfully, podcast audio is has higher CPMs, so that's cost per thousand. So we make more money. Basically, we make more money on the audio side instead of the video side. But if you want to watch on YouTube, please, by all means, go watch it on YouTube or do both. But yes, audio downloads are more profitable than YouTube as of right now. And that could change. But thank you, Mark. Thank you for asking the question. I appreciate you for supporting Locked On. Yeah, man, I know I'll plug it again. For those that don't know, I do the Locked On LSU podcast, daily podcast. I started that podcast in 2018. Did it for about 4 years, and then long story short, I had to give it up. Caroline Fenton did it the last 2 years, and I just took it over about a month ago. It's been a little, maybe I think it was Father's Day weekend. It was to the end of June 18th, maybe something like that. So right at about a month, and we're doing great, man. So thanks to everybody who's listened or watched and subscribed and told a friend. And I've told y'all, man, I don't like to lose at nothing. I don't like to lose at, there's your grammar. I don't like to lose at anything. And in about a month, I've taken Locked on LSU from like 42nd in the college charts to 4th. So, still got a ways to go, and the season hasn't even started. So wait for the season to start. We'll get rolling for real. But thank you to everybody who has watched and subscribed and all that stuff. I appreciate it. Dale, was DJ Pickett's $750K deal for 1 year only? Let me check on that deal. Dale, I don't know. I don't know if that, but Dale, you got to keep in mind what we were just talking about. Like, well, let me say it to you this way, and I don't know. Let me be very clear. I don't know the answer to that question. And I'll find it, though. I'll find out. I don't know that LSU has done deals like that where a player would get a lump sum. So where, like, even if it was 1 year, it would be paid out like monthly. Does that make sense? Okay, babe. Have a great day. Brett, good morning. Had a dream last night. I was in Tiger Stadium for a playoff game. Tigers won 59-10. I hope we get a home playoff game. It would be electric. You know, Brett, while I'm with you, I hope they don't, because that means you'd get a bye. I'd rather the bye than the home playoff game. But I know what you mean. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. It would be electric. It would be awesome to have a home playoff game. That would be, I cannot wait to see that in December. What that theater looks like, be it LSU or anywhere, right? Like, I know we've done this exercise before, but like, just real quick, indulge me if you would. Like, this has always been my point when people are like, oh, I don't need a playoff, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, all right, just take the top 12 from last year, okay? And again, I know this didn't how it play out because you have auto bids for conference champions and a G5 and whatever. Okay. So the top 4 would get buys. So Michigan, Washington, Texas, Bama would all get a bye. That means Florida State would have hosted Oklahoma. Georgia would have hosted Ole Miss. Ohio State would have hosted Penn State, and Oregon would have hosted Missouri. Those would have been on-campus playoff games last year. You gonna tell me you wouldn't be down with that? Come on. I am so fired up for this. I'm with you, Brett. I mean, home, a playoff game in Tiger Stadium, which is going to happen. I mean, the day is going to come where that will happen. You will have a playoff game in Tiger Stadium. And you're right. It's going to be, I mean, knowing like what Tiger Stadium is like is a big game atmosphere. Imagine knowing your season is on the line. It's like, it's one of the reasons why that 2001 Auburn game, I'll always say is one of, if not my favorite Tiger Stadium game ever, because it was the game that got postponed from 9/11. It got moved to the end of the season. And because Bama beat Auburn, it effectively made that game a de facto SEC West championship game. You knew you win that game, you go to Atlanta for the first time. And it was absolutely bonkers that day. So, like, it's going to have that type of feel when we do see a playoff game in Tiger Stadium. I'm with you, Brett. I'm with you. That said, I hope we never see one because it means you'd have a bye. You'd be a top 14 with a bye. But yeah. Brad David, good morning. It seems like every year there's a player rested around this time. Yeah, man. I actually mentioned it on Locked on LSU. It's the time of year where coaches hold their breath because from the end of spring until the start of fall camp, the players are working out. So they're with the strength coach, but they're not having daily accountability with their coaching staff. They're not doing on-field work. So like with coaches, it's all player-led workouts or PRPs, as they call them, player-run practices. So yeah, the level of like you have personal accountability with young guys right now. It's always the time of year. Look at Georgia. Georgia's had these guys, 3 guys arrested in 1 week for street racing. I mean, it's that time of year. Melody, good morning. Razor Bayou Traditions has some cool merch for individual athletes. My daughter cried over her Haley Bryant shirt. There you go. That's a great point. So like they can use their name, image, and likeness for shirts, for merch, posters, autographs, all kind of stuff. So yes, great example. Thank you. American Patriot, good morning. Great show. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you for being there. One Nardi, good morning. Miracle Martinez, good morning. Elijah Brown, morning Matt, just joined. What happened to Toviano? Do you think he'll be off the team? So Toviano was arrested for video voyeurism charges. Again, because it's morning scone, we try to keep it family friendly. He recorded something he shouldn't have recorded without a young lady's consent. And so he was arrested for it. So per university policy, he's suspended indefinitely until the legal system runs its course. So I don't know that he'll be off the team. Just knowing the history of athletes getting in trouble, my guess is chances are he'll be back. But again, the legal system's going to have to play out before he can be. So we'll see. Hey, Rocky, good morning, man. Mark, good morning. Hey, Dad, good morning. Mark, Nola Gold Rugby lost their playoff game. That's a bummer, man. Sorry to hear that, man. Doc, let's see. Hope that 59-10 dream that guy had was one of those weird deja vu dreams people sometimes have. Deja vu, it's a glitch in the Matrix. Brian Wynn, Matt, how do you think Title IX impacts NIL dollars at schools? It doesn't at all because NIL is, again, independent. It's basically boosters and collectives doing NIL deals. That has nothing to do with Title IX. Title IX would affect university spending for male athletes as opposed to female athletes. Maybe the question that you're asking or more interested in is the rev share, not NIL. And again, I want to stress this. Like y'all are going to be the most informed audience when it comes to all this stuff because y'all know I know my stuff on this. But like the revenue share is different from NIL. Remember, the revenue share that we're talking about is not NIL. This is all of the money that LSU athletics raises, and this is across the board in all universities. Starting next year, athletic departments can share up to 22% of their revenue with their student athletes. The question is, how is that money divided up? Is it 50-50 split because of Title IX? Pretty consistently, the answer to that is no, but eventually a lawsuit's going to be filed and the courts will have to decide that. But Brian Kelly said last week that the football revenue distribution at LSU is going to be between $14 and $17 million. That's the expectation. Brandon, let's see, more to Matt. What Toviano is accused of is bad, and it was definitely not. Of course, it wasn't an accident. Even having been a college student, why would you do something that dumb? Because when you're a young person, you don't understand consequences. Don't put your hand on that stove. Don't put your hand on that stove. Don't put your hand on that stove. You put your hand on the stove. So, again, I'm not excusing it. That was, I mean, Brandon, to the point, like, you're 19, you should know better. Like, and ignorance is no defense. You can't say, oh, I didn't know that was against the law. It doesn't matter. You should know better. So I'm not in any way excusing his behavior. Please understand that. I'm with you. Melody, Locked On is really awesome. I look forward to it every day. Thank you, Melody. I appreciate it. Yeah, and so, for a while, like in its old iteration with Locked On, I was really just kind of repurposing a lot of AFR content. Like when I would have AFR content, I would just cut it and put package it. But the network has evolved so much now to where like every show is unique content. It's like I record it here. It's its own show. Of course, you're going to have overlap of topics with things sometimes to talk about on AFR or whatever the case may be. But if you want just a 20, 25 minutes, tightly packaged LSU show, boom, Locked On LSU. Guy Brooks, good morning. Brian, good morning from Franklin, KY. Why would they bump up that SMU quarterback to a 5-star? Because he went to the Gums. The Bama bump, y'all. It's real. Mark, Sunbelt Media Days tomorrow in New Orleans. All right. Taylor Hudson, good morning. Mark, rain until August on the radar. Well, that's a great opportunity, Mark, for me to remind you about Parrish Construction and Roofing. Of course, if you find yourself with any type of roof leak, give us a shout. parrishbuilt.com. Parrish is pinned in the YouTube chat, so you can click the link. There's a form right on the homepage. Fill out that form. It'll literally take you 30 seconds. You're in at that point. You're in our system. We'll be in touch. We'll schedule that free, no obligation roofing inspection. We'd love to help you out. Parrishbuilt.com. So if, as Mark says, it's supposed to rain until August, let us help you out. Parrishbuilt.com. Kyle, what's up, Matt? How would you think if Bama made the playoffs and LSU didn't? And also, my son went to NSU camp, ran his best 44.7. That's awesome. Freshman on the JV squad. Good. That's awesome, Kyle. Congrats, man. It's exciting times. Son going to high school, playing football. That'd be great, man. Good times. How would I feel if Bama makes the playoffs and LSU didn't? I mean, I would hate that. You know what you mean, like how I would feel because of my Bama's burning rants. I still think they're not winning a national championship this year. They're already in a 3-year drought, which I know sounds ridiculous to say drought, but when you win 6 titles in 12 years like they did under Nick Saban, a 3-year drought feels long. And I don't think they're winning it this year, which would make it 4 years. And I don't think they're winning it next year, which would make it 5 years. And I think that's when people start to tap their feet and get antsy. And I think that's the point I've made over and over again. Like, yes, the Bama is burning stuff is loud and theatrical and over the top. But my point, when I make my point in a very measured way, is Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. He's inheriting as stable a situation as you could ever want to inherit in college football from Nick Saban. But he's also inheriting expectations that are completely unrealistic because only Nick Saban could even approach those expectations because he's the greatest coach ever. So under the pressure and weight of those expectations that are impossible to meet, Kalen DeBoer is going to fail because not because he's a bad coach or he's not going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win a lot of games. But they have an expectation there that Saban set that Kalen DeBoer or anybody is going to be unable to reach. Yo, I lived through Mike Price, Mike DeBose, Dennis Francione, Mike Shula. Remember when LSU beat Alabama 7 out of 8 years? Like, it ain't always been like it's been for the Saban era. It's just we lived through this hell on earth for 16 years. I mean, like, but it ain't always like that at Bama. Remember Bill Curry? I mean, it's not always like that. Larry, Brandon, Ryan, Sasha, good morning. Daily Watcher, Rare Chatter, LOL, good morning. Thank you, Sasha. I appreciate you for watching every day, even if you don't comment. I just love that you're there. And I know there's a lot of you because I see all of our numbers, and I know that there's way more people that watch and don't comment than watch and do, but I appreciate every one of you either way. Kevin, what up, my dude? Good morning from Zachary. Good to see you. What was the total revenue dollars generated by LSU Athletics last year? Trying to figure what the 22% will be. So last year, the 23 numbers was a hair under 200 million, and expenses were a hair over 200 million. So LSU actually operated at a deficit last year. But again, Brian Kelly said, and by the way, Kevin, they can spend up to 22%. They don't have to spend 22%, right? But we'll see what that number will be. I've told y'all, man, I had conversations 18 months ago that LSU had already been working on this inevitability of a revenue share. So what it was going to do to their budget. Because remember, like, they're going to, I mean, two things have to happen here. Like, you have you generate 200 million in revenue, you spend 200 million. Okay. Well, now all of a sudden you have to give call it $20 million to players. Okay, well now your budget just went up by $20 million. Well, what happens here? Either you have to cut expenses to make this meet, or you have to generate more revenue, right? So what do? I don't know the answer. I'm not the one sitting there looking at the balance sheet trying to balance this budget. Matt, let's see. I watched Locked On Canes. They're happy about Antoine. But if I'm being honest, give me Pickett. Oh, I agree. They melted when Pickett picked LSU. I don't see him flip it unless Corey leaves. Yeah, look, of course you want Jabari Antoine in this class. No question. But I'd much rather him go out of the SEC. And I do get the sense I'm deciding how I want to say this because it's going to sound like sour grapes, and y'all know I'm not the recruiting guy, but some of the conversations I've had kind of lead me to believe that with Jabari Antoine, it might be one of those things where, like, of course you're recruiting him because he's an in-state guy from Westgate and you've got to recruit him and offer him, but they might feel like they have better options on the board. So now that said, like, I would say, of course you want that guy. Of course you do. But we've seen that over the years. Let's see, Rick, in regards to your comments about Colin Hurley having another year for development, I would typically agree. But if you take into consideration he would come at the same time as Underwood, he may think his best chance to see the field is get in the system with access to the best coaching, nutrition, best chance to win the job. I understand that, Rick. Totally thought about the Underwood situation as well. But when LSU was recruiting Colin Hurley 18 months ago, Bryce Underwood to LSU wasn't really a thought. So I don't think that was in his mind as he was going through his decision to reclassify. I understand your point, Rick, but again, like, I just don't think, like, that wasn't, the timeline doesn't match up to where that would have mattered for Colin Hurley. Let's see. Jason Duvall, good morning from Santa Rosa. Beautiful over there. Need another 30A sticker for your car. I think we're good. Matt, let's see. Send you a message on the show text line about roofing question. Hang on, let me check it, Matt. I won't read it here, I promise. Okay, I got it. Matt, I got it. Okay, good. I'm actually really glad. Dude, Matt, I'm so glad you asked me this. We were literally talking about this on Friday. Matt, I kind of want to talk about this, but I don't know if you want me to. So his questions about shingle resealing, and it's funny you asked that, Matt, because, like, we literally on Friday were talking about this exact thing, because there's a lot of there's some disagreement about shingle resealing, because there's one company right now, this one insurance company that has a deal with this one company that they will only hire that company to reseal shingles, and they're offering it as a program. Now, look, if a shingle's flapped up, you can reseal the shingle. Like, you can absolutely put sealant and reseal the shingle, and it won't flap up. But when you flap a shingle, again, I learned all this on Friday, when it and if that shingle creases on the flap, that shingle it's irreparably damaged. Now, it won't flap, but the shingle's been compromised. A lot of the granules have fallen off, and the shingle's weakened at that hinge on the spine right there. Anyway, and by the way, we can that's part of our maintenance program, is we can reseal shingles, but understanding, like, a part of that is being very open with your insurance provider about, and that's why we have insurance. So Linda, who's on our staff, is a licensed insurance adjuster. I mean, she's an insurance, so she's worked on the insurance side, who now works for us to work with the insurance companies to help get our clients' claims approved. So we go through all this stuff. So it's very interesting, but Matt, I'm curious who your insurance provider is on that. Anyway, But thank you for asking the question. I don't know that everybody wanted like the roofing the roofing info there, the roofing lesson. Right here, Drew. Hang on, let me just. We're almost done on it, but hang on one second. I think Drew's awake. Let me go see if I can. Nope. He laid back down. Let's see. Brian, how's the renovations going on at the? I guess that's at the box. I don't know, man. Have to check in on those. I know they started when the season ended. So, Kyle, I was meaning as with the success of LSU recruiting with pressure on BK to make the playoffs, or win a natty in year 3, but with polls constantly putting Bama over LSU, I guess what I meant. Oh, well, look, here's the thing, Kyle. LSU and Bama play a head-to-head this year in Baton Rouge. If LSU beats Bama and they both end up 10-2, I mean, LSU is going to be in by virtue of the head-to-head. If LSU beats Bama but goes 9-3 and Bama loses, let's say, to Georgia and Tennessee, or Georgia and LSU, but they're 10-2 and LSU's 9-3, even with a head-to-head, they're going to put Bama in. I mean, it's just how it goes. Got a long way to go till we have those combos, though. Hey, Wayne, good morning. Becky, good morning from Orange Beach. All right, y'all enjoy the beach. Matt Lusto, good morning. Steak and eggs before heading to BTC Nashville. Should be rocking my dead soft on stage. What's BTC? I mean, with BTC, I'm thinking Bitcoin, but is it Bitcoin Nashville? I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Like, oh, you're dead soxy on stage. There you go. There it is, Matt. So, Matt, I think maybe you are talking. Is there like a Bitcoin conference in Nashville? Forgive me. I just don't know. Like, I've never been to a Bitcoin conference. It is Bitcoin Nashville. Okay. Look at that. Forgive me, dude. How about that? Enjoy, Matt. That's really cool. I'd love to go to that. Wait, on stage, are you presenting, Matt? That'd be awesome. Let me know. I'd be curious to know more. I'd love to learn stuff. So please tell me more. Kevin, so you're saying 20% surcharge incoming. I don't think 20%, dog. Sean, I watch the show all the time. It's like breakfast for me. What did Toviano do? Good morning, LSU, number 1. Well, thank you for watching. Appreciate that. Yeah, so again, with Toviano, morning scone, we have kids and families watch. So Toviano was arrested on video voyeurism charges. So he videoed an encounter with a young lady without her consent. And she found the recording on his iPad and turned him in. Deborah, good morning. Matt, every time I think of recruiting, I can't help think of 5 for 5 LOL. Oh God, what a day that was. Who were the 5? It was Landon Collins. But I remember the ones they got were like, they got Jamal Adams and Fournette, right? I think they went 2 for 5, but the 2 were Jamal Adams and Leonard Fournette. Which ended up being by far the 2 best players in that class. I think right? Leonard Fournette, Gerald Willis, Jamal Adams. Was it Landon Collins? Who was the 5th? Let's see. God's green only if it's SEC roofing. Okay, cool. Got it. Bitcoin Nashville. That's moderating a panel, dude. Well, let me know more, man. I mean, like I'm not a maximalist. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I own plenty of altcoins as well, as you know, but I do DCA on Bitcoin. I mean, I buy Bitcoin every day. I just have my auto draft set to buy Bitcoin every single day. So I have plenty of Bitcoin. And I'm very, very much looking forward to the next year and a half as we go through this bull run. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Tony Brown and Speedy Noah. Oh my God. Forgot about that. Wow, what a throwback. Leonard Fournette, Gerald Willis, Jamal Adams, Tony Brown, Speedy Noel. Those were the five. Speedy Noel, the wide receiver, of course, who went to A&M. Tony Brown was the corner who went to Bama. Gerald Willis was the defensive lineman who went to Florida. And LSU got Leonard Fournette, Jamal Adams. So, wait, Jamal was not one of the 5 for 5? What? Who was the fifth? Fournette, Willis, Brown, Noel, and Jamal? Jamal wasn't 5? Who's the fifth? Oh, Malachi Dupree was. Well, Jamal was in that class. Interesting. I would have sworn, dude, oh, you know what the thing was with Jamal? So here's an example. Like, okay, so this is a good correlation with with what's going on right now with Jabari Antoine. Okay. So that year, the 2014 class, Hootie Jones was the safety from Monroe. And everybody wanted to get Hootie Jones. And Hootie Jones ended up picking, and LSU offered him, and they recruited him because you got to offer the in-state guy and recruit him hard and all that sort of stuff. But they liked Jamal Adams way more than Hootie Jones. And they were right. And sometimes you recruit the in-state kid because you have to recruit the in-state kid. But there's somebody you like better. That was the case with Jamal Adams. Like, there wasn't nobody, I remember it well, when nobody on his staff sweating about missing Hootie Jones because they had Jamal Adams. And clearly they got the better guy. I'll tell you that happened. There were guys a few years back. This should have been the 19 class. The big offensive lineman from Southern Lab. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Is that rain? Oh my God. Well, that came out of nowhere. Sheesh. Wow. Parish Construction and Roofing. Who was the big offensive lineman? Why can't I could see his face. Cardell Thomas. So everyone was high on Cardell Thomas, Southern Lab kid, highly rated. Like, you had to recruit him. The one that there was, I'll tell you, I know there was a lot of guys on staff that really liked Osiris Torrance out of A-Meet. And clearly Osiris Torrance ended up being the better player. But anyway, boy, this is crazy. It's sun shining outside and storming. Wow. Anyway. Cajun Country. Oh, here it is. Who's the linebacker from Texas? Jay offer for baseball. Apparently has 94 mile an hour fastball. So his name is Jonah Williams. And it's odd because you have the offensive lineman Jonah Williams, who's in the NFL now. But so Jonah Williams is a two-sport guy, and I think he's a safety, not a linebacker. But he's a guy that I have heard compared to a guy like Braden Montgomery, 5-tool guy, outfielder, hit for power average, big arm, pitches as well. I think for him it's going to be what sport do you want to play? Because as I understand it, like he's a different kind of special baseball player. So if he chooses to come to school and be a two-sport guy, great. LSU has a ton to offer. But it's one of those things where he's going to be offered millions of dollars out of high school to play baseball. So what does he do? Hootie and Cam Rob were the other melts. Missing on Cam Robinson was huge. Hootie, not so much. Matt, LSU got the better of the fight. There's no doubt. Yeah. Kevin, other recruiting battle was D'Angelo Benton and Ruben Randall. Y'all ever heard that story about how that all went down? I'm not going to tell it here because there's details I'm going to miss, but that was a wild signing day where like there were coaches like going to take prospects and just putting them in apartments locked away where nobody could contact them until the signing period was. I mean, it was wild. Make defense great again. I should add the video voyeurism can also be charged as a federal crime. I'm sure the state will probably prosecute in this case. It could be picked up by the feds. Brian Wynn, Cordell Jones fanboy. A Cardale Jones or Cardell Thomas? Ish Sopsher was another one. That's a great example of a guy that you recruit locally, who you got to recruit because he's the highly rated guy locally, and he's in stage. You got to recruit him, but sometimes on the inside they'll tell you maybe not super high on him. Sopsher was one of them. Heard that the whole way along. So his 5-star defensive lineman goes to Bama, and so you say I didn't really want him, and it sounds like sour grapes, but look at how that turned out. Travis, good morning, Matt. Blake Baker turned around Missouri in 1 year from being 100th to top 40. Can we reasonably expect the same here? Travis, I don't think that that's a reasonable expectation to go from 108 to top 40 like Baker did at Missouri. You can say what you want, but he also had better talent at Missouri, which is weird to say, but it's true. I mean, he's had all SEC defensive linemen the last 2 years. He had NFL defensive backs the last 2 years. He had better talent than LSU has right now. But could you go from 108 to 58? If you do that, I think you're in a much better spot. Yeah, see, this is the problem. See, Travis said, I assumed our personnel is better. Maybe I'm wrong. Go look at the draft. Look at Missouri's draft the last 2 years. Boy, it is storming outside right now. So this year in the NFL draft, Darius Robinson was a first-round pick, defensive lineman, went to Arizona. Ennis Rakestraw, defensive back. Tyron Hopper, linebacker. Siobhan Foster, well, he's offensive lineman. Then Chris Abrams-Drain is defensive back. Jalen Carlies, defensive back. Isaiah McGuire, defensive line. No, that was last year. Sorry. That was 5 defensive players drafted in this year's draft from Missouri. And then in 2023, after Baker's first season, Isaiah McGuire was all SEC, but he went around 4. Caleb Evans, Nick Bolton was before that. No. So Isaiah McGuire was the only. So the 23 draft after the 22 season, Baker's first season, they had 1 player drafted. It was Isaiah McGuire, but he was first team all SEC. And then last year they had 5 defensive players drafted, including Darius Robinson in round 1, Ennis Rakestraw in round 2, Tyron Hopper in round 3. I mean, they had it at every level. Chris Abrams-Drain, who was all SEC, was a really good player. Jalen Carlies was in round 5, defensive back. Like last year's Missouri defense actually had really good players on it. Okay. All right, Matt. Thank you. I'll check it out about the Bitcoin. Let's see. All right, let me get two more. Texas in the mix for Jonah Williams. He's the number one safety. He wants to play baseball as well. Again, I know that. I don't know that he's going to end up playing football. It's from what I understand from talking to baseball people, he is a guy that would be a high round one guy in the baseball draft. Matt, did they go in the portal to get another body to replace Toviano? He was probably going to play significant snaps this year. So first of all, I don't know who else and what else would be in the portal right now. And I don't know if Toviano was going to play significant snaps. Maybe he was, but remember, like, he signed as a safety, but last year played corner out of necessity, and that didn't go great. And I don't know that he was in line to win one of the starting corner jobs. And at safety, you brought in Jordan Gilbert, who I'm very high on. You know, Sage Ryan is bumped back to safety. Major Burns is playing that star role. You got the safety signees from a year ago, and you've got Deshaun Spears now as well coming in. I'm not going to say it's a good thing to lose an experienced player in a position group where you were very bad a year ago. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I do think they can manage and withstand this. So we'll see. Oh God. Blast from the past, Trevante Valentine. Love when Hanny ranted on him in 2016. Yo, the stories I heard about Trevante Valentine. I mean, and I'm sure Hanny heard a lot of the same stories I did. Like, just a not good person. And I hate to say that about a young guy, but to the point, like, when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, like, you know better. Like, you know right and wrong. Like, you're making conscious choices when you do things. And the stories about Trevante Valentine were both disappointing and some disgusting. Anyway. Matt, can kids do like Dion and Ricky? Football in the fall, minor league ball in the spring. Maybe Jonah Williams can do that. Can. Who's going to let you do it, though? You know, that's the real challenge. Because, I mean, you want your guys there for spring ball. You know. Anyway. All right. I think we're done. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Remember, hey, Brock Rock and Wine is Saturday. Brock Rock and Wine is this Saturday. Get your tickets, brortho.com, brortho.com. Hope to see y'all there at Tiger Stadium. Going to be a great event. Tickets at brortho.com. Brock Rock and Wine presented by Audi of Baton Rouge. It is storm and rain, so remember, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you have a roof issue, give us a shout. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Unique Physique. Semaglutide, tirzepatide, once-a-week injections for weight loss. You've heard about it. You want to learn more. Unique Physique. They're the best. And you could do it via telemed, so you don't have to go into the office to meet with a doctor. You could do the whole thing over the phone if you'd prefer. And, of course, Restored Motions and restoredmotions.com. All right, y'all have an awesome day. Locked on LSU is already live. Check it out on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube and AFR 3.